Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. So this time we have Mike's list, which took first place at the Leicester WCQ. Now this did take place at the same weekend that Utrecht was actually going on. Mike wasn't there, but he was at this WCQ playing pure strikers and taking 8th place from this event. So the list will start off with triple Ash Blossom, triple Vela, and double Ghosto. He's playing one Ibli for the combos in here, then a triple Ray, double Call by the Grave, one Rota, double Area Zero, one Afterburners, one Jamming Waves, one Eagle Booster, one Hornet Drones, double Shark Cannon actually. So this is one of the cards that helps you to enable your combo. Along with Widow Anchor, you just need to put 2 names on the board without making your normal summon. Double Multi-Roll, one Hercules Base, triple Engage, and double Terraforming, 2 Twin Twisters, 1 Upstart Goblin, and triple Torrential Tribute. Then he's also in the extra deck, got the usual stuff for the Borosword combo, so 1 Akashic, 1 Borosword, 2 Mermaid, and then you need any other Nightmare name that you can make, so he's gone with Phoenix here. 1 Unicorn, 2 Hayate, triple Kigari, and triple Shizuku is pretty standard, and he's managed to fit in a Topologic Bomber Dragon as well, because it's very easy to sort of pump out the Link 4 monsters. Then for the side deck, pretty interestingly, he's got triple Vanity's Fiend. I don't think we've seen this come up in many striker deck profiles before, and especially now, given that you only have the 1 drones. However, because he's playing this sort of the extra heavy Shark Cannon stealing monsters and Widow Anchor stealing monsters, you can tribute those monsters, so you can then use them for your Vanity's Fiend, which is pretty interesting. Then a triple Shared Ride in the side, the 3rd Twisters, triple Evenly Matched, double Duster, and triple Mind Crush. So that wraps it up for the deck itself. We got a few comments from him on this list before we get into the rounds. So the first off, here's what he said. He said he got some last minute advice on this side from a mate in Utrecht about 30 minutes before the tournament actually happened. So there were parts of it that I hadn't tested, but had to go along with friends' theory about what to use. Because of this, I wasn't 100% sure on what came out for every major matchup, and had to decide in the moment, but here's a rough idea of what was against what. So Evenly was for going second against anything that could make a board, Dusters for any time they went first against Altergeist or Trickstar or Sky Striker, the 3rd twin for the same as Dusters but when going first instead. Vanity's Fiend was just for Trickstar, they can't out it, and I guess for sort of rogue matchups. Shared Ride for Sky Strikers going first against Trickstar, Mind Crush for going second against anything which consistently searches, and the usual sideouts were Upstart, Velas, or Ghost Ogres, depending on how good they were in the matchup. Torrential against Sky Striker and Fast X when going second, and the second Shark Cannon when not against Sky Striker or a deck that needs something in the grave, so something like Light Sworn with Snow or ABC with A, that's when you want to keep it in. As for the rounds that he played, we'll do the quick summary first, then we have actually got detailed rounds that we'll go over after the usual sort of questions. So for round 1, he went up against 50 card Light Sworn Dinos, went 1-2, so this is his only loss from the event. Round 2 against ABC, he went 2-0. Round 3 against Cyber Dragons, he went 2-0. Round 4 against Dino, he went 1-0. Round 5 against Trickstar, he went 2-1, and round 6 against Sky Striker, he went 1-1, so 1 loss and 1 draw from this event, but overall very, very strong record. He took 8th place actually, and ended up, everyone who was on the same level of points as him took, I think it was 5th place to 8th place, so very solidly within the top 8 from this WCQ. He said the event was pretty free. He knew that the majority of competitive players would be in Utrecht, and it would be a great opportunity to try out a relatively new deck to him with lower than usual risk of being punished for not knowing how to play it perfectly. As for why he wanted to play Strikers, he says he's been wanting to play it for a long time, but only recently actually got all of the cards. Before the ban list, he was playing Invoked Sky Strikers, but switched to Pure since that. He really likes the control aspect of the deck, and it's rare that he finds a control deck that he actually enjoys and thinks is fun to play with, so he's really excited about using this one. Obviously, we've had the ban list come in, so with 3 drones, he said that there were other plays that you could go for, like ending on Topologic Bomber with Topologic Bomber and triggering it multiple times with your opponent's turn to shut them down, but that isn't really as viable now. Drones is still a 1-card Borosword, so if you know you can get game, then you can still do the combo and just kill your opponent. If you can get another monster or 2 on board, then that's pretty much going to wipe them out. It was something he did a lot over the course of the regional, but a few occasions he actually messed up because he wasn't so used to it, still getting... but he did manage to get a reasonable amount of damage in and just win matches from there anyway. The build itself is designed for going first. He was using the MSTs originally, but he decided to switch them out for Twin Twisters on the day after seeing the popularity of Draco and Altergeist at Utrecht, and he thought that he would see more decks like that did play Floodgates at the event. Turns out he actually didn't. Then Torrential we see in the main. This isn't always this set of cards. Generally there tend to be about 3 flag slots, as you saw if you've watched my video on what makes a striker deck. So check that out if you're interested, but generally you have a few flag slots within the deck. This can typically be Mind Crush or something else. He's gone for Torrential. He said it was a bit gimmicky, to be honest. It's pretty great against anything but the mirror, and he figured he wouldn't be playing many mirrors since most of the actual Sky Striker players would have gone to Utrecht. The only one who did play at the event had his flight cancelled. Then for the Vanities Fiends in the side, he said it was a suggestion from friends in Utrecht. He'll shout them out at the end. He was using a Sphere mode originally, but they suggested against and were heavily into the Vanities Fiends. If you summon it against Trickstar, they rarely have any outs that they can use, so you just steal the game from them. He never drew it though, and was constantly revealed. It was constantly revealed off Area 0, which kind of ruins the surprise for your opponent. He asked the Trickstar player who he beat if that player had any outs to it, and he didn't. And then he lost to it in his last round, so someone else had the same idea. As for the easiest and hardest matchups, this is the question we always ask. He says that Trickstar is probably the worst matchup, part of why he decided to play Triple Torrential, but it's such a hard matchup anyway. He got fortunate with the one player he played against Bricked in Game 3, so he was able to just win that up anyway. Any other matchup isn't crazy easy, but you can grind them out, so you get to play some real Yu-Gi-Oh! As for the rest of it, we've got some shout-outs here. Shout-outs to Ahmed, to Jamie, Tom, and Broadbent for the last-minute advice. Extra shout-outs to Ahmed in particular, as he went through a lot of the deck with him. So now let's get on to the sort of more detailed round reports then. So round 1, this 50-card Lightsworn deck. So Mike won Game 1 with a slow grind, which took him nearly 30 minutes. The opponent won Game 2 with a turn 1 Nat Beast after opening the Predator Plants with no interruptions, and Game 3 Mike had no monsters but a lot of interruptions for monsters. The opponent kept in Anti-Spell and flipped it on turn 2, ended up taking some damage. Mike ended up taking some damage, but the opponent couldn't make any substantial plays. Eventually Mike drew a Ray, which outed the Overtext that the opponent had been sitting on for a while, and left him with just an anti-spell. Time was called, and Mike lost despite being in a commanding position because he was just behind on life points, so a bit unfortunate there. Heading into round 2 against ABC, a fairly short match. Both games the opponent had plays with the gadgets shut down by Veilers and Torrentials. In Game 1 the opponent got OTK'd because of the Ibly combo into Borosword, and an Ash on the opponent's Union Hanger in Game 2 meant that he had to pass, and when he attempted a play on the following turn, Torrential left him with an open board. Round 3 against the Cyber Dragons, Game 1 went on for quite a while. Mike didn't have the resources in order to push for game, had to make sure that he had plays later on whenever the opponent fused with Mike's monsters. Torrential on a Galaxy Soldier cleared the opponent's board, meaning that he could afford to wait a few turns for resources to get game, as the opponent couldn't put monsters on the board unless Mike did, to be honest. Game 2, the opponent, Mike drew no Ray or drones or engage for about 5 turns, but drew all the Torrentials and Widow Anchors, so Torrentials stopped him from being killed, and then when he drew into Ray he got some damage in, and M-Phase searched the engage, and then used the trap that banishes Cyber Dragon. The opponent used the trap that banishes Cyber Dragon monsters to pop all of Mike's cards, get rid of his back row, and the opponent dropped a Cyber Dragon and made Mega Fleet to attack for game, but there was a Veiler which forced the opponent to pass, and the Ibly combo allowed Mike to steal this one in the following turn. Round 4 against Dinos, a very short one this, so they had a deck check, at which point the opponent had a game loss for damage on sleeves, making certain cards very noticeable. When they actually got into the game, Mike just OTK'd the opponent on his second turn, stealing the opposing Tornado Dragon and the Ibly combo, allowing him to do 8100 damage. Round 5 against Trickstars. So going 2-1 here. Game 1, Twin and Jamming Waves were used on the opponent's 3 back row of Strike, Reincarnation and Shared Ride. Reincarnation obviously got ashed here, and then Mike played into the Shared Ride thinking he had enough to get game with the Ray and engage, but he miscalculated this, having not had enough experience with the deck. The next turn the opponent did some Mech Knight stuff with Purple, Blue and Indigo, put 3 Licorice on board, and just won it from there. Game 2 the opponent opened very badly and scooped early, and Game 3 the opponent started with Desires, which got hit by Ash, as it indicated that the opponent didn't open any Trickstar cards, so the opponent just set 2 and passed. 1 got popped with a set Duster, one of the sets that got popped was a Duster, popped with the Jamming Waves, and then Ray went into Hayate, dumped and added Engage, and then M-Phase set 2 Widow Anchor and Drones, and the opponent dusted Drones and an Anchor, but the draw was not enough to help the opponent, so he just had to pass again, took more damage, and finally drew a Candina from the opponent, and dodged the Widow Anchor with the Licorice, but he couldn't do anything else after that. So, opponent losing out there, Michael taking round 5. Finally, in round 6, game 1 was a grind between both of them, negating each other's searches basically. Mike managed to resolve multi-roll and engage together. And the following turn resolved 3 more engages. He pushed for the Borosword or Ibli combo, but partway through he realised that there was no opportunity to activate an engage that he'd added from using Shark Cannon on the opponent's Kagari to search for what he needed to finish the combo, so he had to settle for just doing a lot of damage instead, but fortunately it wasn't enough. And then Ray with Afterburners finished it in the following turn. In game 2 the opponent was able to stop more of Mike's searches than Mike could have the opponent's, so it's basically a reverse of game 1, and they ended on a draw here. So thanks very much, Mike, for giving us all of this information, the very thorough tournament report, and really great to see Sky Strikers coming in and kicking off the regional season, or the early stages of the regional season, showing that everyone at Utrecht was apparently right. Pure Sky Strikers are formidable in this format, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of them in the future, and good luck to you in future events. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.